Kamala Harris was very emotional and irrational. People are afraid to say that because if you're calling a woman emotional and irrational, you're a sexist. But she was. She was being very emotional the entire time. She couldn't answer a question without getting upset. She was stumbling over her words. She was clearly flustered. And you have headlines from Newsweek saying that she dominated Bret Baier in the debate. These people don't see language as something that exists to communicate truth. They see it as a tool for getting what they want.
Yeah, that's why they keep changing what words mean.
Exactly. So they're smearing Bret Baier here. He's whining, even though he's just stating the truth, giving some behind-the-scenes information about the interview. They said Kamala Harris dominated, even though it was so optically horrible that she dropped 4 points in the betting market the day after this interview. They're claiming that it was a debate when all he did was ask her very fair, very straightforward questions. He didn't dig up information about her past that she wasn't prepared to discuss. He didn't have some surprise that he was going to hit her with that she hasn't heard from some other interview. All he did was ask really basic questions that any other journalist would have asked her if she had had access to any, or more likely, I should say, if any journalist had had access to her, because she has refused to speak to anyone who won't worship at the ground that she walks on.
You're moving, you're giving her too much credit, because at first she wouldn't speak to anyone, right?
Nobody, even people friendly to her.
They were really just hoping to coast right back into the White House, or stay in the White House based on this whole vibe Brat Summer thing. That's what they were really going for. And it wasn't until the end of August when finally she had to give an interview to, Dana Bash? Excuse me. And then after that, they did a couple friendlies, but they must be really desperate to go on Fox.
Very desperate.
The other tell, too, is that you don't typically see the Harris campaign leaning into the whole gender woman issue, right? They've made a purposeful attempt to stray away from that. So I think it does show you how desperate the surrogates are if they're unintentionally leaning into the gender stuff, trying to frame it as oh, man was mean to woman, it's sexism. In the same vein that I think they loved having the two female debate moderators for the VP debate. So when JD Vance tried to, talk over the, not fact check, it was a moment of, I believe as the mainstream media called it, of mansplaining, but they have this weird trope that they think that women for some reason are going to resonate with, powerful women being spoken down to by men and having to, speak back. And I don't really know who that's resonating with, except people who are squarely in the Harris camp.
I think it's resonating with people who are substantially older than Kamala Harris. I think that resonates with people in my mom's generation. My mom was a corporate attorney, and she spoke to me a lot about how difficult it was being the only woman in the firm who did the kind of work that she did, and et cetera, et cetera. But she's in her 70s. Kamala Harris is, also much older. So what is, that's not something that I think, for the most part, women of my generation or your generation or anywhere in between would really have to deal with. That's not something we've had to deal with.
No, it's too much the opposite.
Yeah.
We're too empowered.
Exactly. Well, that speaks to a point that I want to make here, and this is probably going to be considered an offensive point by many people, but I don't care because it's obviously true, and anyone who claims it isn't is either lying or lying to themselves. But while it is true that women don't want to be necessarily bossed around and told what to do by men, what women really, really, really don't want is to be told what to do by other women. Women do not like being bossed around by another woman. If your wife or girlfriend or mother or any woman you've been close to has worked in an office with a female boss or female coworkers, they will express to you their displeasure in being told what to do by these other women. So when Kamala Harris is condescending and talks down to men, women don't see that and go, oh, 1 point for team woman. They look at that and they say, that's how this woman is going to be talking to me as a citizen for the next 4 years if she's president of the United States. And as it turns out, women don't like being condescended to and spoken down to by other women.
No one
Do you
wants
think
a
that
wicked
there's
stepmother
an
for
inherent
president
thing?
either.
Exactly.
Do you think there's an inherent thing that men and women both have where they're just predisposed to prefer listening to men over women?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ladies, what do you think?
I don't think so. No.
I find most women broadcasters kind of annoying, which I'm aware is hypocritical.
But I mean leadership positions. I
have a theory.
There was
I think it's maybe more derived from people who aren't deserving of their leadership position. And I think there are more women who are in leadership positions that don't necessarily deserve those roles. They got their own sort of false pretenses, where I think if you're, a straight white dude, you had to work 10 times as hard to get there.
I mean, think about Tulsi Gabbard. Would we be having these kinds of conversations about Tulsi Gabbard leading the country? I don't think so.
Well, she's also not shrill and condescending.
I would be.
Harris.
I kind of
so
think
it's not
she is.
I don't think it's.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think it's.
Well, you're just sexist.
Well, she's coming for your guns. I don't know. I don't understand this like fetishization we have with Tulsi Gabbard, especially on the right, when at the base of it, so many of the
her gun position that you're citing like 4 years old.
Does she not believe in the gun position anymore?
Yeah, not anymore.
What is her current
like
gun
2
position?
or 3 years ago, she came out saying that she was wrong on the issue and she was like doing some kind of 2A thing.
Okay, well, I disagree
like
with her on more than just that issue, but I think on the right generally we're too quick to go with somebody who, hey, they wanted to come for all your guns 4 years ago. We support them more than we do somebody who said, hey, I don't want to come for your guns ever for the past couple of decades. But
hey, no, I actually think
the
that's
redemption
fair.
idea, we love that on the right. This idea of redemption.
I agree.
The question of whether or not someone will be willing to vote for a woman has nothing to do with if Kamala or Tulsi. The question is, I think it's a fact that there are a lot of guys and women in this country who would not vote for a woman no matter who it was. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.